going on, guys? So today we're taking a look at the almost called it a rake. Ooh. Okay, today we're going to be looking at the Sanremu 9015. This is a knife sent to me by GearBest to check out. It is a Sanrenmu, one of the newer models, I believe. They are the same people that build the rakes and the real steels, so kind of for all intents and purposes in this review, we're going to be looking at this as a budget real steel. Some of the reasons are this is rolling in at $17 versus the $30, $40, $50 you might be used to seeing from those brands, but it is made by the same people, and it does take a lot of cues from the designs of the rakes, and just you're getting this pretty much the same overall quality with fit and finish and your blade steels and things like that, so on and so forth. So we're going to kind of just take a look at this knife. We're going to throw in a quick spec check and then go over some of the things that I like and don't like about it. So stay tuned, guys. Let's get started. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to kind of start from the front and then just work our way back. With this blade, you are getting a 12C27N blade steel. It's going to be in the the Sandvik steels. Sorry, it's one of the lower ones on the Sandvik. It's a budget offering. It's I prefer it over like your 8CRs and stuff like that, but it's going to kind of fit right in there as far as quality on the blade. You do have a nice hollow grind. I did use this in the kitchen and for some just everyday stuff like opening boxes and things like that, and it performed really well. They did a nice job on the grind here, fairly even all the way across, came really sharp out of the box, so no issues there. I do like that they did a sharpening choil. It does actually a nice job. It functions very well, in my opinion. Let's take a look at our opening mechanisms. This is riding on nylon washers, so it is going to be a decent flipper, but not as good as some of the other ones that these guys build with their ball bearings or their phosphor bronze. So you do have two deployment methods. You have thumb stud and flipper tab. My preferred method on this actually is the thumb studs, which is really funny because on my P801 I hated the thumb studs and I like the flipper, and I'll kind of show you why. When you go to deploy via thumb stud, just flips right open. Really good authority. The detent's really good for this. And I just like it. It's got that nice kind of kick sound to it. Really good thumb stud deployment. The flipper is doable. It flips open, but it's not as intuitive as some flippers that I've handled. There's not a lot of jimping, so you really got to just kind of get in there, think about it, and give it the authority, because you can kind of, that one went. So it can leave you hanging a couple of times when you go to deploy it if you're just not thinking about it. So I do prefer the thumb stud opening method. They actually did a pretty good job on these thumb studs too. You can see it has this like tapered pyramid with this little nub on top, and that really lets you lock in on it when you go to flip it open. It doesn't do a lot of wear and tear on the thumbs, and it's actually pretty comfortable. So I do really like the thumb studs on this one. It's one of probably my favorite features. So let's take a look at your handle scales here and just kind of the design. You are stainless steel all the way around with this G10 backspacer. You can see they've milled these little holes in here for aesthetics, I think, and also it just does add actually a little bit of grippiness. So I appreciate that they tried to do something with the design and offer in some functionality here too. Because if you want to go up here and kind of do a pinch grip, it does give you that little bit of extra texture. Moving back, you can see the pocket clip is a left or right hand tip up reversible. So lefties, if you're in the market for a budget rake knife, this is something you guys might want to consider. We're going to kind of go over the clip and some of the stuff that's going on back here in just a minute. On your other side, you can see that you do have a safety lock which will lock in place your liner. Your liner is a little bit late on the lockup. You're at about 75–80% there, but it will lock in, and I tried to get this lock to fail and I actually couldn't. So the liner is a nice thick liner lock as well, so that's something to appreciate. And it's soft, no lock stick, so it's actually not bad to disengage. So I can give them marks on that. Now we're going to kind of talk about the villain of this story. And I love deep carry pocket clips, but this one not so much. You're probably going, Jack, what the hell, man? It's a deep carry. Why don't you like it? Well, because it creates kind of an ergonomic mess down in this area. So I do have smaller hands, and you're going to see when I'm up here, I'm just rocking all day, no issues. But if I'm thinking about someone else other than myself, you can see that is below my hand. Well, if you have a medium hand or any hand that's slightly larger than mine, that's going to be in your grip area down in your bottom of your palm. So I started to grip this knife just to get the idea of what somebody with a larger hand would experience. And it's kind of a hot mess down here. While I do appreciate deep carry pocket clips, I'm not exactly sure what was going on when they built this knife, because you have the deep carry, you're still going to have this much sticking out. They included this G10 backspacer, which we'll take a look at real quick. It is about 3/4 of the way up, so almost the full backspacer. They did include this in here with this little lanyard area. I'm not exactly sure, kind of, if that works for me. I would have just wished they would have cut that off and kind of squared this off a little bit here, at least just a little bit, because you got a lot of angles, you got a lot of different elevations playing in place here. You can see it is kind of like milled like that. So when you're putting your hand in here, that bottom is just, you're feeling it. Like right now when I'm gripping it, that is just uncomfortable. That's a heck of a hot spot. One of the worst ones I've had on a knife in a while. But so that's something to keep in mind with this knife if you are going to carry it around. It is also a little bit heavier, which we threw up in the spec check, but it is something that's a little bit heavier, so you are going to feel it in the pocket. But normally I'm all team deep carry, not on this. I just wish they would have kind of fixed this. This is a mess down here. But let's move on and just kind of do final thoughts and impressions on this knife. So final thoughts and impression on this knife, I would have to say if you've got $17 and you want something that's similar in build quality and design as a rake, or maybe like a real steel, but you don't have the $30–40 that those knives tend to go for, and you want a budget rake, this is something I would consider. Only if you have smaller hands though, because I don't think anybody with larger hands is going to enjoy it. Blade, I'm great with the blade. I'm great with the deployment. The thumb studs, fantastic. I could have did without the flipper tab because, well, I'm just not going to use it. It does click open, but I'm not going to use it personally. I do like that they incorporated some of these little millings in here to give it a little bit more of aesthetics and just actual some functional grip. So I really like that they were thinking about that. I'm okay with the full back spacer, but I'm not okay with what's just going on down here. I think this kind of needs to go back to the drawing board. So honestly, if I was going to say yay, nay, or may on this one, I would actually kind of just say pass. Save your money and maybe get something else down the line. But, you know, this might be for you. And if it is, obviously all the links and stuff will be down below. So if you want to get something from GearBest or support the channel, by all means, use the links. All right, guys, so we do have another one that's coming up from GearBest here in the next week or two. And that one might be a little bit better. Spoiler alert. We'll see. But thanks for watching, guys. This is my review of the Sanrenmu 9015. Take care, everybody.